Okay, so thank you very much for joining me today and for joining Carmen and I actually today for our information session for our certificate in user experience design. I know that you probably all have really busy schedules, so we really appreciate you being here with us today. And we are recording this information webinar, and we will be sharing it with all of you as well. So on the screen, you will see the agenda for the information session today. It'll probably take about half an hour, 40 minutes. We will take questions at the end of the presentation. We will start off with introductions. We will cover what UX design is from an instructor's perspective, the recent growth in UX jobs, why choose York University, the target audience, the program structure. We'll give you a little bit more intel on who our instructors are, and then I will wrap it up with registration information, and then we can open it up to questions. Okay, so I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Marina De Bona. I'm there on the screen. I'm the program manager for this exciting new program that we're launching in the fall of 2019. And then my special guest is Carmen Branje. He is one of our instructors. He teaches the first course in the program. Carmen, did you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, everyone can hear you. Perfect.
Yep. Excellent. Yep.
Okay. So let's move on to the presentation. I thought I would take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about York University before we dig deep into the UX program. We are the second largest university in Ontario. We're the third largest in Canada. We are known for academic excellence. 90% of our professors have the highest educational qualification in their field. And we also have a very rich research history, and we have an expertise in pedagogy, online learning, and instructional design. We are known for our drive in teaching and research excellence. We have over 52,000 students that receive education here on campus, and we have over 11 faculties. We've got 24 research centers and have partnerships with over 200 plus leading universities worldwide. The School of Continuing Studies is a school that is within York University. We are located on the York University's Keele campus at Keele and Steeles, and the school provides meaningful continuing ed opportunities that combine guided instruction with practical application. All of our programs are designed to develop the well-rounded professional that employers value, with both the deep discipline-based knowledge and the broader skills that are required to communicate and be effective within a multidisciplinary team. So with a variety of options, to suit your learning style and schedule, adding a recognized, respected credential such as a York University certificate has never really been more convenient. So the School of Continuing Studies, we serve nearly over 2,000 students now through continuing professional education certificates. We also have pathways to degree programs, and we have an English language institute that is well world renowned actually, and which draws students from over 50 countries from around the world. We have other programs that are offered through the school, of course, one of which is the User Experience Design Certificate, but these are some of the other programs that we offer, from cybersecurity to big data to risk management to dispute resolution, IT audit, HR, accounting, business, public relations, digital and content marketing. So this screen is very important. This is what makes us very, very unique, because the goal for us in all of our programs is to produce graduates who can write, speak, negotiate, problem solve, make ethical decisions, and think critically. So these are the cross-functional skills that are on the top of the T. And those are always integrated in every single program that we develop. Now, graduates then will have, of course, the in-depth knowledge, which is the bottom of the T. Those are the core skills to actually do the job. In this case, it would be UX. So those are the core skills in UX that you would do the job. But we will also introduce and weave through the program the really important cross-functional skills that are required to succeed in a career in UX. So I'm going to turn it over to Carmen, and he'll talk to you about what UX design is.
So my name is Carmen Branje. maybe I'll just give you a quick little background on myself, or is that, I think maybe we have that a little bit later. So let's talk about what user experience design is. So in essence, user experience design is about solving problems. And that might seem a little generic, but that's really what design is. I think design often gets conflated with uh, more specific types of design, such as visual design, graphic design. And I think when people hear the word design, they very much think graphics, visuals, things on a screen. But with user experience design in most design fields, it's much more broad than that, and it's about solving problems. And in the case of user experience, it's primarily around solving problems that occur when a human being interacts with a machine or a system of some kind. So that system could be a bus system, a transit system. That system could be a school. That system could be an application on your mobile phone. That system could be a desktop application. And so user experience design is about understanding both sides of that equation, understanding how human beings are and how they act, and the problems that arise from their characteristics, and on the other side, the system. How can we best design a system so that it can interface with that human being? So, often you will visual design, graphic design is sort of a subset of a lot of user experience design work. But it's not everything. There are lots of other things that go into user experience, like research, interaction design, a visual design, of course, information architecture. It's a very UX is an umbrella term of which there are many sub disciplines that exist underneath that. So I think that's a fairly good introduction to user experience. Any questions or clarifications needed on that?
I think, you know what, I think it might be better just to wait and take questions at the end. I'll just move
Sure.
on to the next slide.
Sounds good. Okay, so I can talk to this. I'll talk a little bit more about my experience because we can see from this slide that UX design is a highly desired skill by employers. So I'll fill that in with some of my experience. So when I graduated from UFT, I applied to be a user experience manager at CIBC, and I was there for about 9 months. And I decided to look around, maybe I could get something different. And so this would have been 2014. And honestly, I had more interviews than I could attend. I was turning down interviews. I was kind of setting, I wouldn't say setting the terms, but very much there, I had choice, right? Similar, it's a little less now because I've sort of moved up in the hierarchy in the industry, and where there's sort of less, there's less management positions, obviously. So it's not quite as, if I put out applications, it's not quite the same that I experienced, say, in 2014. But I tell you, as a junior or intermediate UX designer, there was at that time, and it's still my feeling that there is today, a ton of demand. I'll tell you, so I work at Loblaw Digital as a senior product designer, and our design team, so I'm actually a new hire. I just started at the beginning of this month. We've gone from 7 designers 2 years ago to, I think, just over 24 now. In just 2 years, and we hired 6 or 7 just last week. So there is a lot of demand I've seen personally, and as you can see from this slide, there's the data supports my anecdotal experience. So
I'll take this slide.
sure.
Okay, so this slide is really, what makes us different. Why invest in York's School of Continuing Studies for your program? Now, these are just some of the features of our program that I think you'll find very attractive. We are cohort based, so it's very different from the way other institutions are offering their programs at the university level, of course. We don't offer course by course. You have to take the entire program, and I'll move to that slide in just a moment where I'll show you the actual structure of the program and the courses that are included. We also, it's accelerated learning, so you'll finish the program in 8 months. Students will be introduced to real world projects that have been integrated into the program. So you will be able to actually have a product that you can take with you at the end and show a potential employer at a job interview. All of our instructors are highly experienced practitioners like Carmen. It is a very flexible format. It is offered in a blended delivery format, so it's part-time. It's a part-time program that is offered both online and in class, a combination of the two. Some of the other unique aspects of the certificate, I alluded to that earlier, was the inclusion of the top of the T soft skills. UX design is a highly collaborative process, and soft skills were pointed out to be very critical for success in the role of a UX designer. Another unique aspect, like I mentioned earlier, was the blended offering, which helps potential students, prospective students, meet work-life balance needs because most of our students are actually working professionals. So this fits well within people's schedule. You can work and actually still attend the program. Our research also noted that UX design, we are going to cover very more in-depth coverage of topics in comparison to our competitors. So each of our courses would be longer and provide opportunity to delve deeper into topics as compared to some of our other competitors, like some of the boot camps that are available right now. We will be following the design thinking methodology, and we will be incorporating design sprints into the curriculum. And lastly, we will be using, in terms of the real-time projects that I mentioned, we will be using Ripen, which is a great tool that York uses in order to connect our students with real organizations to work on a real project for a real organization. Students will also have an opportunity to do a lot of networking within the program. Because it's blended, you will be meeting with your instructors and your peers in class, and there is a potential to also have guest speakers coming in to do presentations on the days that you are on campus. We have a very strong advisory committee that is overseeing the design of this program, and so we will be including them potentially in some of those in-class opportunities. And again, wanted to really stress the fact that this is going to be a very hands-on, very practical kind of program. Okay, just moving on to this slide here. Again, this is in relation to the cross-functional competencies that that I was discussing earlier, and in terms of the missing skills that have been identified by our advisory council. So this was a question that we posed to our advisory council when we first met with them. And we asked them, what do you believe is lacking in the skill set of today's UX professionals that you wish would be addressed by university programs? And so this is what they have indicated was missing. And so what we're going to be doing is integrating this into the program. So the first point, presentation and the ability to communicate one's own design process. Empathy that should be built into the program between disciplines to build the best products. The ability to execute usability work and wireframing on existing sites. The ability to justify your designs in UX terms, and facilitating design thinking workshops. So all of these really great points that we have extrapolated from the advisory council meeting that we held will be integrated into the program. Okay, I will turn it back to Carmen, who can talk to who should take this program.
So like I said before, user experience design is an umbrella term, and it's an amalgamation of about a dozen practices and domains. And so I think there's potential for people from all sorts of backgrounds to get into user experience design. And I can tell you, I've worked with user experience designers from all sorts of backgrounds. So for example, at CIBC, I worked with someone who had a background in kinesiology, right? Which makes sense because kinesiology is about understanding the physicality of human beings, and it's not much of it's not much of a stretch to see how that could apply to how interacting with a website or a mobile app. I've seen, of course, a lot of people from graphic design and visual design have come into user experience design. I've seen people from sociology, from anthropology, from psychology, all come in from different angles into user experience design. And I think it's really great to have people, diverse backgrounds in this field. So myself, I come from computer science and business. So I bring something else to the table as well. So I think this program would be great for somebody who has something unrelated to user experience or somewhat unrelated under their belt already. Now that's if this is the first thing you're starting with, it would be definitely useful for you. But say, for example, you have a degree in psychology, or you have a degree in sociology, or you have a degree in kinesiology, or you have a graphics design diploma from George Brown, let's say. Having that already would be really great to come into user experience design and then kind of fill in all the gaps and tie all the remaining domains and practices together. So that's what I think, especially because this is a certificate program. It's 4 classes. So I think it would be really great to combine this with another practice, whether it be graphic design, computer science, psychology, sociology. And yeah, so that's generally who I think would really, really benefit from a program like this.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carmen.
No problem.
Okay, so let's talk about the structure of the program. We know that finding time for continuing education is not easy for a working professional, so we're trying to make it easier, and we're trying to offer a program that works around, your commitments. We know that this program is 8 months. It's part-time and is a combination of online and 8 weekend days in class. So in total, you would be in class for an eight-month period, and mostly it will be online, but there are some in-class in-class sessions that are required. They would be held here at the main campus of York University, and they are slotted at the beginning and the end of each course. And it's 8 Saturdays in total. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Carmen to talk about the courses in the program.
Sure, sounds good. Okay, so I've taught a lot of user experience design courses at Ryerson and other institutions, and I find a big problem with having a single UX course is you don't get a chance to practice, and the practice of design is something that you have to practice, and I'm using kind of 2 definitions of that word there. But you need to practice. It's learning how to design experiences is similar to, let's say, learning how to play an instrument. So even if I could tell you absolutely everything about guitars, right? How to tune them. I could tell you about musical scales and whatnot, but until you actually have a guitar in your hand and play and practice, you'll never become a great guitar player. So that's, I think, one really great thing about this 4-course program is that you do get a chance to practice. So I'm teaching the first course 1, Fundamentals. That's your ground school, right? Think of that as, we'll use another metaphor of learning to fly a plane. So when you fly a plane, you start off in ground school. So you could think of course 1 as ground school. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna bombard you with lots of information. I'm gonna lay out the framework of what user experience design is, what are the tools, what are the practices, what are the roles, and all of those things. And you'll have a little bit of time to hands-on time in that class, but for the most part, it's about learning. Then the following classes dive much deeper and give you much more, a much better chance of applying the stuff that you learn about in course 1. So in course 2 and 3, you're going to learn about design research. And that is all about understanding your problem domain. And most importantly, that usually includes human beings because we're designing for experiences of users. And then following that, so once you've sort of learned about your problem space, then you'd move into course 3, where we start learning how to define the solution. And that's usually done through visual design, through wireframing, through prototyping. And again, those two middle courses, it's probably more, so my course is probably 80-20, let's say, with in terms of information practice. Course 2 and 3 will be a little more like 50-50, where you're applying much more, but still learning. And then finally, course 4, it's mostly application. So that's when you've gone through all 3 courses, and now you're going to have a chance to actually apply everything that you've learned over the last 3. And I think this is a really good approach to learning in general, and I think particularly to learning user experience design, because there are 2 sides. You do need to be informed about the current state of the practice, but then you also have to do it yourself. And I think you get both of that in heaps in this certificate. All right, so this is me. I'll just talk about myself for a little bit. So I didn't really intend to get into design when I started at Ryerson. So I started as a computer science undergraduate at Ryerson University, and I was on a path to be a programmer, essentially. But then I met a researcher at Ryerson named Dr. Deborah Fells, and she hired me as a researcher developer, and I worked with her for about 10 years after that. And she really pushed me into, not pushed, but led me into design and research, which eventually led into a PhD in industrial engineering at the University of Toronto. So for that project, I designed and built a special keyboard meant to play music for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. So you could see very much how that sort of lends itself to user experience. So then I went to Centennial College. I taught as a full-time professor there for 2 years. I got involved in a number of applied research projects where we would join up with students and build something and research it, and that was really fun. Then I spent a few years at the banks, both CIBC and RBC, as a user experience designer and a prototyper. And after that, I left. I felt I had enough of the banks. I left and joined a really small company out in Markham called Orbit Group, and I worked with them for about 2 years. They make call center software. And then just recently, I made another switch to Loblaw Digital. And so here I am working as a senior product designer on the Shoppers Drug Mart app. And so that's where I am now. And I have a pretty good balance between industry experience and teaching. So I'm an adjunct at Wilfrid Laurier, at Ryerson, where I've taught at Georgian College, at Centennial, at Sheridan. So I think I have a really good spread between practice, understanding how things are working in the real world, and then academia, how to organize our thoughts and practices into a way that people can digest. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, great,
You can
Carmen.
add me on LinkedIn. I'm on Carmen. Search up Carmen Branje on LinkedIn, and you can go ahead and add me.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll move on, and and the other instructors. The second course, the UX Design Research course, Alicia is teaching this course, and she is a senior designer at Spotify. She also has lots of experience in this field as well. The instructor for course number 3, the visual design, wireframing, and prototyping, is Philippe. He's a product designer and a design educator that is based here in Toronto. He is working as a product designer at Index Exchange, and he also has a lot of experience in this field. He also teaches here at York University in the undergraduate program in visual design. And the applied course is Rahim, and he is also someone that brings a lot of experience to the table. He is currently a designer as well. I know that he's worked in Canada as well as in the United States. And so, yeah, all 4 of our instructors are, highly have a lot of experience in the field. are very well credentialed, and I think that you're going to enjoy learning from them. So in terms of registration and the next offerings, you can enroll online at that link, or you can go right to our website, continue@yorku.ca. Enrollment is now open for the fall. That is the tuition is $43.96, and that includes all 4 courses. It doesn't include any reading material, but if you are a York University alumni, you do receive a 10% discount on the tuition. So please give us a call for the discount code. The program will be available, as I mentioned, in fall 2019, again in winter 2020. So we do have 2 offerings a year. If you go to our website, continue@yorku.ca, full schedules are available on our website. And we do have a continuing studies advisor. His name is Mike Kosiba. And if you have any questions that we were not able to answer, we highly encourage you to email Mike at continue@yorku.ca, or you can give us a call at 416-736-5616. So this is the time for you to ask questions. Carmen and I are going to be available to answer any questions. He can answer, of course, all the technical UX questions. If you have anything administrative, I'd be happy to answer it. So let's open questions to the floor. I think one of the first questions that actually came through was, what kind of software will be used during the course? Sketch. And I know that course number 3, and Carmen, you can chime in as well, but I know that Philippe indicated that the focus for his course will be on the construction of the interface itself, and that he's going to be emphasizing various design principles, and that he'll be integrating software tutorials into the program, but the focus will be on Sketch and InVision, but he will cover other tools. So he will be covering like a toolbox kind of approach, and that he said that if students prefer to use another tool other than Sketch or InVision for their assignments, that he's happy to accept that. So he's not, married to Sketch or InVision. Can you add anything else?
I can. So Sketch and InVision is definitely a good one. It's not my favorite tool personally, but it's very widely used in the industry. Almost every shop I've been to uses Sketch and InVision. So that said, there are a lot of other tools out there. So Adobe has a tool that has come a long way. It's called XD, and it's free to download at the moment. It's pretty similar to Sketch in a lot of ways. My tool of choice, it's sort of an advanced tool. I like it because it does really sophisticated prototypes. It's called Axure, A-X-U-R-E. And you can download a 30-day demo, and you can also get a free educational license. So you might not be able to get the license until you're registered unless you're a student already. But if you send they're pretty easy. If you email them, let's say a picture of your student ID or your schedule, they will send you back I think it's good for a year. So you can really learn Axure. And I'll mention one other one just because it's sort of coming up in the industry. It's called Figma, Figma. It's more of a cloud-based tool, and it really emphasizes team-based work and collaboration, that in a way that Sketch doesn't really do. So that's my message on tools. The one thing about Sketch is it only works on a Mac. So if you want to use Sketch, you'll need to have a MacBook. The other tools I mentioned are cross-platform.
Okay, terrific. The next question is about workload per week. This is a brand new program. We're launching it. So really, we don't have any test subjects. Like we don't have any students that we could ask in terms of workload, but we do take that into consideration when we are developing the program. We are not going to burn out our students, that's for sure. Just based on my experience as a program manager, a lot of the programs that I've developed in the past, students claim that they spend 5 to 10 hours a week on the program. So that includes the time on the discussion forum online. That includes any kind of assignment or readings and stuff like that. So what I would probably think is 5 to 10, and then the full day Saturdays would be in addition to that, of course. right? Then I have a question again about assessments in the program, and are they based on projects or are there exams? And maybe Carmen, you can talk a bit about yours, but
Sure.
I know again we're really striving to make this a very applied program. So the majority of the work that you're going to be doing is going to be, project related. Of course, there will be other, traditional kind of assessments as well in the program, but we will be striving to make this as applied as possible. Carmen, did you want to add anything or?
Sure. So I believe my course is the only one with traditional assessment. So I have one quiz on the first in-class day, and I have a final test on the last in-class day. And then there's a few more activity, hands-on based assignments in between them.
Okay,
But
terrific.
they're weighted low. I think the quiz is five or 10, and the final test is 10%.
I had a few students asking, prospective students asking about Mac or PC, but I think you answered that question. I have a few questions about career support after the program is over. We don't have a career center per se, but we do provide opportunities for networking within the program. We provide opportunities through the Ripen project at the end. Those are the career kinds of supports that we're going to be providing our students. I'm just looking at some questions here. For someone who is new to the field, are there any skills that you should learn in advance to starting the program to ensure success? So Carmen, maybe you can take that.
I don't think so. I think you could come in fairly fresh to the field. If you have zero experience with a drawing tool, I would maybe start practicing with that. So something like Illustrator, or you could try out Sketch now and just get into the flow of drawing on an application. But really, like I said, user experience is only partly about the graphic design. A lot of it, like I don't consider myself like an visual artist in any way. So I have some drawing, digital drawing and wireframing skills. But I don't consider myself a visual artist. But so if you don't have any experience with a vector drawing tool, it would be beneficial to practice with that a little bit. And that's tools, mostly Adobe Illustrator, Sketch. You could try download Adobe XD and play around with it. It's pretty intuitive, and you could just get into the flow of drawing on the screen. That's probably all I would add for now.
Great. I had a question about financial aid. No, all of our programs are non-credit, so they don't qualify for any kind of financial aid like OSAP, if that's what you're asking. I have a question about, do any of the, maybe Carmen, you can help me answer this. Do any of the courses cover UX development integration into the Scrum model or anything similar?
I do talk about Scrum and kind of project management a little bit, but nothing very specific. Like we probably won't get into the exact details and specifics about how to integrate a design sprint cycle with a development sprint cycle. But we will touch on that, but it won't be very, very detailed, I don't think.
Okay, terrific. I
Yeah.
have a question about class size. It really depends. Normally, our class sizes range between 30 to 40 students. Are projects done in a group or individual? I think there's going to be a combination of that in the program. There will be some assessments you're going to be doing on your own, and then others that you're going to be working on in a group. I have a question about when are classes starting? They're starting in September. Everything is on our website, the entire schedule. You could see exactly the exact Saturdays that you're required to be here, the time and all that. So if you go to continue at yorku.ca, you'll be able to see all that information. And I have a question about do we need to know coding? And I think Carmen was pretty clear that you don't need to know coding in order to take this program. Am I right, Carmen?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so do we have any other questions for either Carmen and I? Carmen, will students be job ready once they finish the program? Like what types of entry level roles can you maybe suggest would be available to a student that completes?
You could, I would say, without an accompanying degree, it would be a challenge, but you could certainly look at a junior UX designer. One way that you can see a lot of people get into UX design by starting as a graphic designer first, but that would be dependent on you having those skills and training already. I think you could, very much like a junior interface designer, a junior content writer, a junior UX researcher. That would certainly be possible after a course like this, especially because you're going to have a portfolio piece that you can show. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing when they come to a UX interview is I need to see your work, some kind of work. So that'll be beneficial. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on the student, of course. Like I said, this is a good certificate to combine with something already. So if you're coming right out of high school and this is the first thing you do, it might be a bit of a stretch to get in as a junior designer, UX designer, let's say. It's possible, but it would be much more likely if you had like a background in psychology, a background in computer science, a background in graphic design, one of the sub-disciplines that I mentioned.
Okay, I think we've got 2 minutes left. I think we have a few more questions. Would this be a good additional skill to advance as a graphic designer career in the industry right now?
Yeah, so that goes to what I said is this is an excellent thing to combine with an existing thing. So graphic design it's one of those things that's good to combine with, absolutely. Your skills. Now that's being said, if you're a pure graphic designer and you want to stay in graphic design and not move into user experience design, I think it might help you a little bit. But if you're making things like pure graphic design, like print, or maybe marketing banners, I suppose knowing about user research and psychology would help you be more effective as a more effective graphic designer. But I'm not sure if taking a UX certificate would be the best way to improve yourself as a graphic designer. But if you're looking to expand into UX design and you're a graphic designer already, then absolutely this is a good thing to do. And it wouldn't hurt you as a graphic designer. I'm just saying there's probably more specific certificates that you could take if you wanted to stay as a pure graphic designer.
Okay, I have two comments I wanted to make before we wrap up. The first is that all of the dates are on the website, and I provided everyone with a link. I think everyone probably should have received the link. That goes, if you go to the website under UX design and you hit enroll, you select fall 2019, and you'll see all of the dates there. They're all on our website. And the last question, can you share more details about the portfolio piece and what it will contain? Absolutely. If you contact Mike Kosiba, he has some course outlines that we've generated for the public that we would be happy to share. And they give you more information on, what we envision for the portfolio piece. Okay, and again, I think I addressed the group project thing. You will have an opportunity to work individually on group projects and on teams as well. Okay, all right. So I think that we will wrap it up. And Carmen, thank you very much
No
for taking the
problem.
time to be here with us today. I appreciate it, and I thank everyone else that's online as well for taking the time. I hope you guys enjoyed the info webinar, and we hope to see you in the program. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.